Hi, welcome back to the channel. Let's make another bucktail. I'm going to tie a black over orange in 2 stages. I've made a few already. Medium-sized bucktails that we use up here a lot for pike. But we catch smallmouth and occasionally walleye on these things. So supplies, we need some bucktails, some glue, some thread. I've got a number 5 French blade, a number 4 stirrup clevis, a lure body. I haven't been painting them lately, but you can see that I've painted these ones now. I'm trying out some craft paint. We'll see if it's any better. Paint on the lead tends to chip off real easy no matter what you use. So I'm trying this. We'll see how it goes. This is 0.04 inch. And I buy these ones. They come with one eye on them already, and I think they're 8-inch lengths. You can get them on many lure supply places. And then I've got just straight lengths, same gauge. And I cut these in half to make the back half. So these are 2-piece. So we make a back half, tie the bucktail on it, then we make a front half, tie the bucktail on it. So let's get started. So this is the jig I use for tying my lure eyes. And I've made this out of a 1/2-inch shaft collar. And I've added this wire with a little notch in here. And that catches the wire and helps bend the eye, and then it catches the shank in this gap down here to straighten the wire out. That's just a 1/2-inch shaft collar, and this is a 1/4-inch bolt. I think it's a 3.5-inch with 1/4 20 thread. These 1/2-inch shaft collars come with a 1/4 20 set screw in them, so really easy. And then this piece again is another 1/2-inch shaft collar, and on this end I've cut a notch that way and a groove that way. There's a little nick on there for where I slipped with my grinder, and that's for tying the barrel wraps. This could very easily be in the end of this and have one piece for the jig, but I've just made this thing and I'm just getting used to working with it. So right now I just kind of like the option of having separate pieces, because if I change my mind I can just easily make another piece. It sits on a 1/2-inch shaft collar. This is a 1/2-inch by 4.5-inch bolt, which I've cut off at the threads. And I've added a number 8 and a number 10 deck screw shanks in here. One for making the eye and one for bending the straightener. If you're just getting started into making lures, one of the more complicated things to do is the lure eye with a barrel wrap, to get them really nicely centered on the wire and consistent. And again, these ones, this setup ties a little bigger eye, like so. And some of my really old videos, which are cringeworthy by the way, I use a 2x4 with a nail in it, and you can easily bend it around a nail. Anyways, we'll get started. So this jig is, I've shown it in a few videos, but it bends it around, gives it that little straightening, gives you that. Then you take your vice grip, sorry, you get it in your little notch in there. Hope we can see that okay. And you just turn it to do the barrel wrap. Do the other side. So my crude measurement on this is 2 thumbs, about like that, for the size of lure I'm making. You can make these however big or small you like them. Back into the jig and just do your barrel wrap. So that's the back half of the lure. Alright, so we've formed the wire of our back half of our lure, so we'll tie it into we'll trap it in our tying jig. And I'm going to start with some orange. So the first thing we're going to do is get some thread, attach it to our wire. I just have these lengths of thread that I'm working with. Your first tie, you want to start with a small amount, because if you start with too much, it tends to be very difficult to keep it tight to the wire. So start with a little bit and then bulk up as you go. I enjoy the process of making videos. I enjoy the creativity. I'm not much of a storyteller. My videos are all over the place. Some ice fishing, some boat fishing, some lure making. And I really do enjoy making these lures. So again, cut off a little bit. you know, pike teeth and musky teeth, they tear these things up. You can armor these as much as you want with as much different thread and glue and everything that you want, but realistically their teeth are like razor blades. So I try to build these things pretty quickly, and I try to build them frugally. So if you can make really good lures for not a lot of money, why not? Okay, so I'm just going to add a piece of thread here and taper this in and start the black color on there. I'm just tying overhand knots. Are there specific knots you could be tying for this? Oh, probably. Am I doing what's quick and easy? Yes. Dye comes out of this black real bad. Some do, some don't. This is a bad one. Start with a little bit, and then build up as you go. Now we'll just start bulking it up. I think I mentioned in my other video, these smaller or medium-sized bucktails. I tend not to bulk them up with too much hair. There's a balance where you get too much hair on them, they become really buoyant. And if you get too much hair on them, they don't want to cast as good. They catch a lot of wind when you're casting them. So you kind of have to figure that part out for yourself, what works best for you. And make your lures, you know, what's going to work for you. But I find for us, for casting, especially with my kiddos using these things, they don't necessarily have the fortitude to cast these things as hard as an adult. So I find that being a little bit thinner on the hair helps the kids cast it a little bit further. But again, you know, if you're making your own, you make them what's going to work for you. Alright, so for the next part, we're going to make the front half of the lure. I like to have a bead, and then the clevis, a metal bead, 3 beads, and a body to make the lure. When you are doing this, whatever this looks like, you want it to be long enough your blade doesn't reach the hair or the thread. Because when it's traveling through the water, that blade will cut the hair or cut the thread. So you want that up far enough up. Now, I guess mine chip up because the blade is constantly hitting this, but I only want this so long. Okay? But it's important that your blade doesn't touch the hair or the thread. I'm going to add a bead. I'm going to add a blade with a stirrup clevis. Make sure the blade is facing the right way. You'll never notice that you've put a blade on backwards until you have the lure complete. And then you'll realize you've made a mistake. Then I like to put on a metal one. So, try not to be in the shadows. I don't know what's going on here today. I haven't changed my lighting, and I'm fighting all kinds of shadows. No idea. Not a videographer. And then I'm going to add a lure body. Again, this is just a worm weight, and I've painted it with craft paint, and I put a clear coat on it. I guess we'll see how well that works out. So, next step again is we just put it in our jig. We've seen this before. Roll this over, bend it. Then we assemble the back half onto that, like so. That does up our barrel wrap. Cut off the excess here, and then we'll clamp this part in the vise and we'll add the matching bucktail to it. Okay, so this goes in our jig. This goes in our tying vise. And again, I like to have this part just on a bit of a downhill. And I do that so that when I'm tying, all the accessories stay down here. So I'll get my thread secured onto the wire again, starting with a smaller amount and then bulk up as we go. Start it nice and tight. Get a couple knots on it. And then we're going to work our way around. And okay, we'll add a little bit more. We'll bulk this up some. Not too much. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Lots of new subscribers lately. I know YouTube really likes DIY videos. So these seem to fit right into that. So a lot of new subscribers lately and a lot of new viewers. So a big thank you for that. You know, thank you for the people that have been subscribed since the channel started. Thank you to people that view the channel casually. And a big welcome and thank you to new viewers, new subscribers. I started this channel as a way to share sort of what I was up to with my family, kiddos. I started it when the world went crazy in the pandemic and when I couldn't properly visit friends and family. So it has turned into, I think we're just over 500 subscribers now on the channel, which amazes me. You know, it absolutely amazes me. YouTube to me is not, I'm not sponsored, I'm not monetized. This is simply a hobby at this point. So that means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you for the holiday season. You know, it's upon us, and you know, you want to make sure that friends and family are remembered and looked after. I'm not growing this channel as a business, or at least not right now, I'm not. And so it's just capturing hobbies. Some of the DIY of making lures. I know there's a lot of people interested in how to make their own lures. There's tons and tons of videos out there. So if you manage to stop and find mine, I really appreciate it. Put some glue on this. We'll add in the black. And we're going to have another lure ready. Start off with a little bit, and then we'll bulk it up as we go. Just tying up the colors we use frequently, because I think I like to layer my bucktails like this. I think it's kind of makes like a perch stripe, or however you want to look at it. But I do also like making them in stripes. So we've almost got this one done. Glue that up, and then we're going to run the taper down. Stray, fix it. Add that to the collection of lures. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make yourself some lures.